We need to act on that voice. I knew it was something I needed to act on, and I knew I needed to risk my last paycheck to do so. In 31 hours, we sold the last ticket, and I have to say that I am still trying to process and understand what has taken place, because I know that this is such a big accomplishment, and I'm really just going to do what it takes to push through these weird feelings and not allow for them to rob me of what we need to celebrate on today's episode, because this win isn't just my win. It's, of course, my team's win. They deserve so much credit. Sonia, Salisa, Carissa, you guys have worked so hard to make this happen. It is the win of those that purchase tickets to participate in this amazing event. This is your win. We are going to create an incredible experience for you. And this is also everyone else's win, because what I am learning through this process is the power that we have. When I was 16 years old, I became extremely interested in marketing and advertising. I realized that that sounds hella weird, because what 16-year-old is interested in marketing and advertising? Well, this one was. I formed part of an organization called DECA, Distributive Education Clubs of America. DECA is a program that is in high schools and in colleges, and it prepares emerging leaders. And one of the subjects that it prepares emerging leaders in was marketing. So I became part of this club, and I began to write 30-page marketing plans with a partner and with our high school instructor, Mrs. Ekstrom, who was freaking amazing. She was in the hood teaching us all of these marketing tools and techniques and teaching us to really embody what it meant to be a leader. So at 16 years old, I was traveling all over the United States, presenting marketing plans to judges. I mean, it was pretty intense, and it was one of the most powerful experiences that I had in high school. You all have to remember that I was a teen mom, so I had a baby at the time. I was really set on, I have to make it. I have to be somebody for my baby. Like, it wasn't just about me anymore. So I was hyper focused, and this was the perfect program for me because I could really hone in and try to take something on that was mine, like creating a presentation, my ideas, and selling my ideas. And it was great, healthy competition, and I got to win so many awards and plaques and trophies and all kinds of cool stuff aside from traveling and really expanding my mind. I remember going to New York and walking the streets of New York and feeling all of that energy and thinking, one day I want to be a CEO. I didn't even know what that meant. I think at the time I just understood that it was like a big deal to be a CEO. What was really crazy about that New York experience, you guys, I can't believe I forgot this, was that I didn't have money. I was working, yes, but I was also paying for diapers, and I was also going to high school. We got to do payment plans, and the trip was like $500, and we had a big part of the school year to pay for the trip. That was the only way that I was able to go, and I have to say that I did receive help from a teacher. When it came time to leave, we were going to be there for, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 days, and all I had on me was $20. I only had $20. And if I'm not mistaken, like, dinners were included in the trip. And so I really believed in my heart that it was going to be fine, and that all I would need was the 20, and that I could, not eat, and I would only eat dinner, and it was going to be fine. And it was. I didn't let stupid shit stop me. I got a little sidetracked there. And I just wanted to tell you, like, because I felt like it sounded like, whoa, she got to go to New York and do stuff like that when she was young, but it wasn't like that, I wasn't in a place of privilege. I was really embodying a place of magic all the time. It's not something that just started for me a few years ago. It's something that has been present since I can remember. And it hasn't been easy, it's been a struggle, like only having $20 in my pocket, but not letting that stop me from experiencing something that I knew would be important for my expansion. I got totally off the subject, so I wanted to interject. I'm actually editing right now, and I just started crying again because I'm crying not out of like feeling sorry for myself. I'm crying out of my freaking bravery for stuff, I was just a little kid. Anyway, it's going to jump back into wherever the hell I was before this. But having all of these dreams and just being focused on them, I then went into going to college and learning marketing and advertising. I began to produce, create, direct commercials. I was on air talent. I was on television. I was creating business plans for local companies and also creating a marketing plan on how they were going to sell their message. I was also selling air time, which is one of the most difficult sales jobs that anyone can have. I think the statistics are like 1% that enter selling airtime that are like quote unquote account executives actually make it and sustain themselves in that industry. It's so hard to sell airtime. So I would sell airtime on radio. I also sold airtime on television. And then of course I was writing copy, producing, directing, and creating commercials on a local level. My dreams began to expand and I really wanted to get into the film industry and create content in the film industry. A lot of you know all this. I know I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but I also want to just talk about how all of this experience that I went through, I'm actually utilizing right now in the creation of Let There Be Luz. But what I am really utilizing is honing in on my intuition as I do this, because I really believe that the reason that we are so successful in what we're doing in Let There Be Luz, and when I say successful, please take that with a grain of salt. I mean, we've had some pretty wonderful accomplishments within the team. So I know this is really small, but I do foresee it growing. When we sold the tickets, I think I fully understood this is it. We are a real functioning business. This is exactly what I wanted. It is now manifested, which is so scary and there's such a big responsibility. But I want you to also know the background of why this is working and why it's doing well. And I want to share this. I'm so happy that this is a blog cast and that my idea was to take you through my journey on how I'm healing, on how things are working out. Never in a million years did I think that we would spend so much time having conversations on, how we're turning this into a business and how it's working out. And you're kind of getting the behind the scenes as well as being able to come to the events and enjoy that side of the business. So you're kind of seeing, both sides and the expansion that's happening. And I want to share it because what is happening is that Latinas are creating businesses and they are so much more successful than their other female counterparts. And I believe that the reason that they are so much more successful is because I want to say that we are so tapped into our intuition without properly understanding it, because there's so much that is instilled in us that is woohoo-y without us really understanding. Like your mom saying, like, te hicieron ojo, agarra un huevo y bárrate. Let me translate that. So that just means, that someone gave you the evil eye. Let me get an egg to remove the evil eye. Our parents came to this country based on intuition. They intuitively knew that they would have a much better opportunity here. They intuitively knew that they needed to come to this country to manifest something that lived within them. That is a high-risk, intuitive decision. All of those nuances that we experienced growing up, I really believe that we are rich in intuition. And I think that this has a direct correlation in why Latinas are superseding their counterparts and becoming successful. So I have some numbers here. Let me just share some of the numbers that I have. I'm reading this directly from a report called 2.0 Latina from Nielsen. Nielsen is a company that tracks and pulls statistics. They also work with the Census Bureau, who is a company that pulls statistics, I want to say every 7 years. I used to get so excited when these reports used to come out when I was younger. It was such a big deal to me. And I recently got a hold of this report not that long ago. And I want to share some of these numbers with you because I believe that this is a direct correlation, like I said, of us honing in on our intuition and using it to run businesses. And it's also why I think that we were able to sell out a retreat in 31 hours, which is not common, even for people that are rooted in the spirituality industry that have a huge following. It still takes them several days, if not weeks, if not months, to sell a retreat. Aside from there being lack of content and lack of events that are created like what we're doing at Let There Be Luz for our community, aside from that, I'm telling you, this has a lot to do with our intuition and our will. According to the latest census data available, there were just under 1.5 million Hispanic female majority-owned firms in the U.S., with 78.7 billion in sales. Latina majority-owned firms make up 44% of all Hispanic-owned firms and 15% of all female-owned firms. This is a big deal. 15% I think might sound like a little bit, but it is actually a really big deal. Hispanic female majority-owned firms grew in number by more than 682,000, or 87% during the last 5 years. That's huge. Just in the last 5 years, Latina-owned businesses grew by 87%. Can we just let that sink in for a moment? Latina-owned businesses grew in the last 5 years by 87%. And I'm sharing this because we need to know our power. So let me tell you how we compare to our white female counterparts. Our growth, as I formally mentioned, 87% in the last 5 years. 87% Latinas started firms. For white females, that was 13%. 13% compared to 87%. The growth in sales that Latinas are experiencing in their firms is 41% in comparison to white females where their sales are growing at 14%. Not only are we really successful at starting our own businesses, but we're of course also rapidly expanding in our buying power. The report also shares the drive that Latinas have in wanting to become their own boss. That would only make sense, right? You don't want to pay us equal pay. We're on the lowest pay grade when it comes to working for corporate America. I think we're done with that. So there's a lot of drive here. And I'm telling you, I feel like intuition plays a big part. I feel like if we hone in on what our intuition is trying to tell us to do and we begin to have faith and we trust it, then that turns into complete next level. One of the patterns that I've noticed in my professional career is that I am always part of a launching team. I was part of the team that launched the first Hollywood Latino studio. I was part of the team that launched territories where streaming services were going to break through. I was part of the team that launched the streaming service for AT&T. Part of the team that launched. When I began to look at my resume, I started to see the word launch almost on every bullet point. Like, wow, there is definitely a pattern here. I'm really driven by starting something new. And I think part of the reason why I love starting something new is because there is no road paved out for you. There is no map. You are constantly having to troubleshoot as you're breaking ground. You're constantly having to learn and you're having to navigate via your gut. Everything that I've been learning in my professional career is what I've been able to apply for Let There Be Lose. I want to empower you that if intuitively you are being called to do something, then I want you to really take the action in doing it. If you are having trouble connecting to your intuition or deciphering between what your intuitive voice is telling you and what your ego may be telling you, then it is time for you to really practice on executing both and seeing what it feels like, voice to voice, what it feels like. Is this my ego? Is this my intuition? What it feels like. And when you move from each, what the difference is. But the point here is to move. We are currently working on an 8-week program that will be launching in January that will help women identify their intuition and move through the place of intuition. My intuition has already begun to download a series of powerful workshops that are going to help us do that. And I think part of my inspiration might even be coming from DECA, from this Emerging Leaders Club that I was in when I was 16 years old. Because one of the cool things that they did, they made us put everything into action. I've been taking so many workshops in coaching courses and how to navigate through this. And one of the things that I dislike the most is that I feel like I'm sitting in a lecture and I get so bored. So I'm actually working on projects almost where we're going to take action, because I really believe that something that has propelled me has been taking massive action, but it's coming from a place of alignment. I think it's so crazy that my passion for creating content has turned into creating experiences, because it's still creating content. I want to create a story that you experience when you come to one of my events. That is what I want to create. I want to create a story that moves you and changes your life. And that's the same thing that I want to create with this 8-week program, is a set of experiences that move you and make you expand and make you think. I was so lucky, and at the same time, to some people, they might say I was very unlucky to not live with my parents from the time I was 13, to have all of these crazy experiences of living with strangers, one point living with a teacher from high school, like all of these different experiences that made me who I am, but that I also was smart enough to pay attention to what was taking place and pay attention to what was working and what wasn't working, what was working and what wasn't working. And here we are today creating this incredible content, and we need more content creators, and we need creators to be diverse. Right now they aren't diverse. And since we're on the topic of diversity and we are on the topic of becoming boss bitches, I want to wrap this all up nicely with a really cool announcement. There's this web series that's incredible. It's called Pink Slipped. And the creator's name is Jacqueline Priego, who also happens to be part of our tribe. She's actually a Let There Be Lose listener from Chicago who is creating this amazing web series. The web series is about 3 friends that are on the verge of getting pink slipped. They're on the verge of getting fired, and they're trying to create their own thing. She addresses really important issues like the wage gap. Universal Pictures just recently let her know that they are going to host a LA premiere of her web series. We are hoping that she gets picked up. The trailer is so incredible that I almost have no doubt in my heart, because it is such great content. I've watched the trailer at least 20 times. It makes me cry every time I watch it, especially because there's a character on the web series that I identify with so much. I feel like I'm watching myself. We don't have enough content where we get to see ourselves. So Jackie, thank you so much for being so brave and actually writing a series and creating it. This is incredible, and congratulations on this opportunity that Universal Pictures is presenting to you. I know you are going to go so far. You're going to be amazing. It would be so awesome if you wrote in a red tent into your series and had me host it. I'm just putting it out there. But in all seriousness, this web series goes out into the universe on Thursday. So please check out the trailer that will be linked in our description bar and in our show notes so that you can watch this incredible content. It's totally giving me like all the Vida and Insecure vibes. It's a really dope show. I'm just so excited for everything that she's creating. So let's support our sister and tribe. Let's share her trailer. Tell all your girlfriends. We need more of us saving ourselves, not waiting for someone else to produce us, not waiting for someone else to give us the break or the opportunity, but to be students, to practice, to do it and not give up no matter what. Hone in on your intuition and let that guide you. With that being said, if you're looking for any more healing, our incredible and favorite breathwork instructor, Ana Lilia, who was one of the instructors at the Red Tent, is having an event in October. Head over to her website. We're going to link her information also in the show notes and in the description bar because the event looks really cool. It's like in a teepee, like out somewhere not too far away from here, but it looks secluded. It just looks like pure magic. And anybody that went to the Red Tent can tell you that Ana Lilia is a really powerful breathwork instructor. Definitely take advantage of her event in October. And then also just follow her on Instagram because she also does like in-home sessions, small groups, intimate, and she also does private sessions. So make sure that you're following her on Instagram. Her Instagram account is _Ana, ANA, _Lilia, LILIA. I love you all so much. Thank you for your support on the retreat. I don't want to cry. I've cried so much. I'm all over the place. Thank you for your patience with me on this episode. I know I was everywhere, but I hope I tied it all together somehow, somewhere. May the light within grow stronger, and follow your intuition and listen to it and set intentions and follow through. And more importantly, don't give up.
Return to the one.